Hey fashionista, so today's tutorial is going to be on how to make this cute maxi skirt with a side split. And if you don't want to add a split, you can skip that part and follow the rest of the steps in this tutorial. And at the bottom of the description bar, I will have a list of all the materials and tools you'll need for this look. So let's get started. First step is to use a skirt as your pattern piece, and you want to make sure that you have a paper that's long enough and wide enough for your maxi skirt. So I use this skirt and I put it on the fold of this paper. So the skirt is folded, but the paper is just one piece. So once you do that, you want to figure out how long you want your maxi skirt to be, and mine is about 30 inches long. And you want to trace around, adding a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and add the additional length for your maxi skirt. So it should look something like this. Next step will be to divide your maxi skirt pattern into 3 pieces. So you can take whatever your measurement is at the bottom and divide that into 3 evenly. And what you want to do next is just cut it all the way to the waist and leave less than a 1/2 inch that is not cut at the top. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So your skirt should be cut into 3 pieces, and it should look something like this, so that you're able to move it around and figure out how wide you want your maxi skirt to be once you cut it out on the fold. So what I'm going to do is, I think this is how wide I want my maxi skirt to be. So what I'm going to do is probably just take an additional leftover piece of paper and put that under and kind of tape it down. So what I did here was I figured out how wide I want my maxi skirt to be as I spread it out. And I just took a scrap piece of paper and I just placed that underneath and I taped it down so it won't move. But what I do suggest is, once you do this, transfer this on another clean sheet of paper, and that will be your main skirt pattern for this maxi dress, like your official pattern, and not this piece right here. But if you don't have enough paper, you can just use this. And what you want to do is, when you do spread it, you want to make sure that this part is straight, and the only pieces you are spreading are these 2 end pieces right here, because you're going to place this pattern here on the fold and cut it out. So you want to make sure that this edge here is straight. So what I want to do is just cut out my 2 pieces for the maxi skirt, and I'm going to sew them together, and then I'm going to show you the next step after. So I already cut out my maxi skirt and I sewed it. So the reason why I did sew on both sides is because I decided that I don't want my splits on the side. But if you do want your splits on the side, you just mark where you want your seam to stop and leave the rest open at the bottom. So I want my split to be right here in the middle as pictured in the video. So what I did when I cut out my fabric, I made sure that my front piece was about 1 inch wider than the back piece, due to the fact that I am adding a seam here. And so what I'm going to do next is take my pins and figure out where I want this split to go. And I think I want it to be about right here. So you can either use Tailor chalk or you can use needles instead, and line them up on the fabric and cut near where you lined up your pins. So it'll be about here, and I'm just going to cut it out and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so as you can see here, I cut where I wanted it to be a split at, and I also serged. So I know a lot of my subscribers and viewers have asked me at what point do I serge my garments, and actually I always serge, but I know a lot of seamstresses that watch my tutorials don't have a serger. But if you have a serger, make sure you serge your garment. It makes it look a lot more professional. So if you are doing a maxi skirt like me with the split on the side right here, I'm just going to put right sides together. And what I'm going to do is pin this down, and you want to mark where you want your split to open. So I think I want my split to open right here. So that's where you'll stop after sewing it down. And then the rest would just be hemmed all the way down, and you want to do that to both sides. And okay, so if you haven't already, make sure that you hem the bottom of your maxi skirt. And our very last step will be to make our waistband. So what I did was I took my scraps of fabric and I figured out how wide I want my waistband to be. And I spread out my skirt to see the width of the waist. And all I did was I cut out my waistband, adding in 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides. And you want to just cut 2 pieces. So I have my 2 pieces here. Have my 2 pieces here, and I'm putting right sides together. And you just want to sew along this edge and flip it out, and then I'm going to show you guys how to attach it to your maxi skirt, and you are done with this tutorial. Okay, so for the waistband, I already folded in half. So what you want to do is flip it so that it's backwards, and you just slide it in your skirt. And what you want to do is pin it all the way around the waist and sew along the edge, and you're officially done with your maxi skirt. Alright, fashionistas, excuse the dirty mirror, but this is the finished look to the maxi skirt. And I did make it shorter because it's for my sister and she wanted short, like kind of like a Rihanna maxi skirt. And I wanted to say that it's really good to have a seam right here, because some people might be asking why I just didn't cut up instead of doing the hassle of adding a seam. So if you were making this for a client and they wanted the split to be longer last minute, all you have to do is use your seam ripper and unstitch this and just sew it down. It's that simple. You guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next week for a whole new tutorial.